I want to find the person who should be held accountable for my sins, honestly, I don't have to go any further than the mirror. It's me. It is me and me alone.
Former Senator John Edwards saying what he did was morally wrong, but not illegal. Good morning, Paul Lindman, Scott Litt, the Morning Update. As you know, yesterday, a North Carolina jury found the former two-time presidential candidate not guilty on one of 6 counts in his campaign finance trial. Deadlocked on the other counts, that led the judge to declare a mistrial. Royal Oakes is ABC's legal analyst. He's with us this morning. Should we have been surprised by that outcome, Royal?
This really shouldn't be a shock given all the speculation about how the Federal Election Commission didn't go after him. So why are the prosecutors? Isn't the campaign law vague? And is it really appropriate for hush money as opposed to hardcore campaign money? And finally, really was there evidence that he knowingly violated the law? And that's a key requirement in that federal statute.
He was found not guilty on count 3 of the 6-part indictment. What was that part about, and why would they be able to make that finding only on 1 count?
Well, that's a good question, and we'd love to be able to find out from some jurors who might be sort of talkative. Count 3 was about the Bunny Mellon money from 2008. The other counts related to different types of violations, different money from her in different years, from different people. And a lot of folks were speculating that that was the strongest count for the government. It seemed to have the best link to the campaign because she was quoted as having said, he'd be a great president, that's why I'm giving this money. And yet, that's the one count they said not guilty on unanimously.
The Department of Justice officials, is there any chance that they'll seek a retrial on the 5 deadlocked counts?
It's funny, initially people were speculating, it's likely they'll go after him again because that's just the way prosecutors are. They're kind of pugnacious. They have a good track record on retrials. Statistically, the government does pretty well. But then there were reports from some unnamed sources that they were leaning against retrying him. I have a feeling that they may take a little bit of time to analyze it. They may even approach some of the actual jurors from this case and say, hey, could we chat? Go to Starbucks and tell us what we did right, what we did wrong.
None of the principal witnesses in this case were called to testify. Mellon is like 101 years old or something, and Edwards' former assistant wasn't called, nor was Edwards. Should they have been? I mean, was that a surprise?
Well, certainly from the defense standpoint, it's pretty easy Monday morning quarterbacking to say, boy, they made the right call pretty much across the board. Obviously, it could have been better for them, but it was an excellent result for John Edwards. So you can't really second-guess his strategic decisions. From the prosecution standpoint, of course, they didn't have a right to call John Edwards. He could take the 5th. Bunny Mellon, being 101, I think the decision was that's just not going to work. We're not going to put her through that, and who knows if she'd be able to contribute to the trial very much. As to whether the government called Riel Hunter, that's a hard call. It would have focused more attention on the sex aspect of everything as opposed to the campaign finance, and a lot of people worried that maybe the jury might ultimately think, this is really all about sex. We shouldn't be putting him in jail for that. Instead, is it really a campaign law violation?
This jury, 8 men and 4 women, spent 50 hours deliberating. There was some confusion yesterday, wasn't there, Royal, when it was thought they'd reached a decision, and when they found out that wasn't true, the judge sent them back. I mean, is this standard procedure?
Not at all. What a wild roller coaster ride that was. We get the word, as you suggest, early in the day, there's a verdict, so everybody's all poised for it. And then we get the word, well, we kind of have a verdict. It's just 1 count. Well, what does that mean? And what it meant was they were hung up on the other 5 counts. So the judge announces that to the world, which is odd because judges don't always announce when there's a partial verdict. And then the judge holds a hearing, makes a decision to urge the jury to go back and try harder. She does do that, and then shockingly, really, within 45 minutes or so, the jury's back. Hey, Judge, what part of we can't decide, don't you understand? We really are hung up. Then this time she accepted that decision.
You've talked about a retrial, but as we close here, give us your gut feeling. Is this thing over as far as the legality of it all is concerned?
Yeah, I think it probably is over. It would just be an enormous double egg on the face if the Department of Justice went after him a second time and lost again. And as to the verdict on how this is going to affect campaign finance law, well, it's probably going to make it tougher to bring these kinds of cases against politicians.
ABC legal analyst Royal Oakes. Royal, thank you very much.
You bet.